Hello, everyone, and good afternoon to you all. I know that there's a lot of places you could be here at Supply Side West, and we're grateful that you're here today. This session is called Detecting the Pulse of Cardiovascular Innovation, the Science, Diversity, and Insights. I'm not the expert up on the stage. I am just introducing these two gentlemen. We have Will Cowling, Senior Strategic Marketing Manager at FMCG Gurus. He'll share some market research insights about heart health. And we also have Niels Holm. He's Chief Scientist at Aker Biomarine. And he'll take a close look at the relationship between the cardiovascular system and the liver. So with that, I'm going to turn it over first to Will. Please put your hands together for these gentlemen.
I've got this one, yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Will Cowling. I am Marketing Manager at FMCG Gurus. And today I'm going to be discussing heart health in 2023 and beyond. I just want to say thank you for all coming to the presentation and sorry for my voice. I have lost it in the dry desert of Vegas. So this presentation is actually going to cover a number of different areas and a few different areas. So firstly, we're going to be looking at how consumers are actually taking a proactive approach to their health and well-being. We're going to be looking at the importance of good heart health and how this is defined by consumers and what steps they are taking to actually improve their heart health over the next couple of 12 months. Now, this presentation will be available after the event as well, so please feel free to contact me at will.cowling@fmcggurus.com, and I'll be more than happy to share these slides with you. So just a quick introduction to who FMCG Gurus are. I'm sure you're all very well aware of who we are, but we are a market research company that specializes in consumer insights. We help our clients better understand consumer attitudes, behaviors, and motivations towards all areas of food, beverage, and supplements. Now, we launch surveys looking into a number of different topics like heart health, cognitive health, immune, digestive, along with also looking into categories such as active nutrition, sports nutrition, and so forth. Now, you can see on the slides all of the countries in blue as well. These are countries which we survey. So if you do want to learn a little bit more, again, feel free to reach out. So let's get started with the presentation. So consumers are taking a proactive approach to their health, and they're actually focusing on a prevention over cure approach. Now, this means that consumers will actually be looking to maintain the improvements to their health, which they've actually made over the recent couple of years. We know that during the pandemic, a number of consumers actually turned to focusing on their health and well-being because they were very vulnerable to disease and illness. And we've actually seen that a number of consumers actually feel that this has been positive for them as their health has actually increased and they feel like they're a lot healthier now than they were prior to the pandemic. And consumers will actually want to maintain this level of health and well-being, focusing on their health as they move forward in 2023 and beyond. Now, consumers also recognize that their busy lives post-pandemic and also environmental and economic uncertainty is actually going to have a direct impact on their health and well-being, highlighting these issues even more moving forwards. Now, we can also see from the slides that consumers actually want to address various numbers of different health over the next 12 months. So we can see a number of different areas here, such as sleep health, immunity, mental well-being, digestive health, and of course, their long-term well-being. And by this, it means that consumers would actually recognize that heart health is actually central to facilitating long-term well-being, something which we're going to talk about now in the presentation. So addressing heart health is actually going to be a big concern for those aged 18 to 22. Now, 3 in 10 consumers actually say that they want to improve their heart health over the next 12 months, indicating that some consumers are actually prone to suffering from issues such as high blood pressure as well. Now, despite younger consumers actually being associated with being healthier in general, they're actually the ones who are most likely to actually want to improve their heart health. We know that younger consumers will also recognize that frantic lifestyles combined with issues such as drinking more alcohol on average and also poorly structured mealtime habits and diets is actually increasing the risks of problems which are immediate and of course long-term health problems. Now, they will also be conscious about issues such as developing diabetes as well. Now, consumers are taking various steps to improve their overall wellness. So consumers are actually taking a holistic health approach to looking at their overall well-being, recognizing that all areas of health are actually interlinked, and if you want to live a healthy and active lifestyle, you must address all areas of health. Now, it's important that consumers are recognizing that healthy diet alone is not enough to actually maintain and improve their health and well-being. And consumers are actually more likely to take general steps as opposed to specialist ones, such as seeing healthcare professionals, indicating that they actually recognize that health problems are actually being self-inflicted as well. So this is something that will actually drive demand for functional products that offer a health boost beyond just basic nutrition. However, consumers are conscious about rising prices as well, and it's really important to note this. And this actually means that spending on health and wellness products are going to be a lot more considered moving forward in 2023 and beyond as well. Now, functional brands actually need to emphasize value through promoting multiple benefits and provide evidence to support these claims, as this is actually going to really help to rebuild that trust with consumers in that health and wellness market, especially in uncertain periods. Now, consumers are most likely to associate good heart health with their blood pressure levels. Now, we know that consumers are looking at addressing their heart health, yes, and currently high levels of uncertainty and concerns ranging from rising prices to conflict around the globe can actually have an adverse effect on their blood pressure, something which consumers are suffering from. Now, blood pressure can actually also be impacted by traits such as poor sleep hygiene. We can also look at poor dietary habits which are impacting consumers, which can actually be common amongst consumers in a time of uncertainty as well. Now, consumers are also making the link between heart health and blood sugar levels and diabetes at a time when the prevalence of diabetes actually grows. Now, another link to note as well is that consumers make it between heart health and fatigue energy levels, showing they actually recognize that if they're going to lead a healthy and active lifestyle, they must actually address their heart health and make sure that their heart health is up to standards. Now, consumers are prone to suffering from symptoms of heart health at least occasionally. Now, whilst consumers recognize the importance of heart health, such problems are actually common across the globe. Now, we can also see that these can actually be self-inflicted. For instance, many consumers state that they actually suffer from heartburn, which can also be attributed to, well, at least in part, to poor dietary habits, and also overindulging and also late at night eating, which many consumers can be prone to doing in a time of uncertainty. However, the most common problem experienced by consumers is constant tiredness as well. And now this may be a result in some questioning whether this is inevitable due to the consequences of a busy lifestyle and returning back to everyday life after the pandemic, or something more problematic such as low immune health or energy levels, which is actually impacting their heart health as well. Now, consumers will be conscious of these problems, not only that impact their day-to-day life, but this is actually going to be increasing the risk of later and longer-term health problems. So it's going to be at the now where consumers are actually going to want to address this. Now, consumers also want to see heart health claims on products synonymous with the breakfast table. Now, consumers want to see various products that actually promote health claims across a number of different product categories. But one we can see the most is actually they want to see this within sort of the breakfast table sort of offerings. Now, consumers are adopting this debit to credit sort of approach to their health and well-being, and they actually tend to be more health conscious in the morning. Now, we know that product categories such as cereals, fish, hot drinks, milk are already actually associated with being better for you. And this actually means that consumers are more likely to deem these claims credible. If you have a functional claim on a breakfast product, it's going to be more trusting for consumers as they already associate these products with health and well-being. Now, if brands can actually reassure consumers about the safety of nutritional supplements and to position them as convenient and hassle-free, supplements is also going to be a great way for consumers to actually turn to products which is actually going to impact and support their heart health as well. And I think it's important that the appeal of such products will actually continue to grow in the future. And this is why we're seeing nutritional gummies and functional gummies also becoming more popular because of the sensory appeal and consumers being able to trust that product more. Now, when it comes to ingredients, vitamin C is actually an ingredient that is most likely to be associated with aiding heart health. Consumers are becoming more proactive, and what that means is, it means that they're actually researching a number of different ingredients and their wide-ranging health benefits. But at a time of uncertainty and increased price sensitivity, consumers actually have favorable perceptions of ingredients that they know and that they trust, and actually can be found in everyday products, which they're used to. Now, vitamin C is an ingredient that saw a growth in popularity amongst consumers during the pandemic, and it's because of the associations with various health benefits as well as the immune system. Now, we can also see that protein is also an ingredient which has seen good growth over the last couple of years in consumers' minds. We know that protein also has this health halo around it, with many consumers adopting the notion that the more protein, the better as well. And it's associated with aiding overall wellness, meaning that consumers feel that it would actually benefit the heart health as well. Now, the last ingredient I want to touch upon is, of course, as well, omega-3, an ingredient that is associated with aiding healthy aging by aiding cognitive and heart health functions as well. And there's an opportunity to sort of exist to increase awareness of omega sources outside of just the fish market, looking at sort of plant-based alternatives there as well. So thank you for my introduction to FMCG Gurus and this presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening. Now, this presentation, we actually used a number of our surveys, including our health and wellness survey, along with our new heart health surveys, which we've just launched. So if you do want to reach out to me, you can see my email, you can see my number, you can see my LinkedIn. Feel free to drop me a message, and I'm more than happy to share these slides with you and answer any questions you may have. So thank you all for listening, and I'll be answering to any questions in the Q&A at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
So I am going to take you through a much more technical talk, so bear with me, but I will try to explain as well as I can. Now, first of all, thank you for coming here, and I'm delighted to speak about one of my favorite topics. Cardiovascular disease are primarily looked at as cardiovascular disease without any further connotations. And I am going to show you that cardiovascular disease can be looked at in fairly different ways, and there are one way that are emerging these days that I think is well worth noticing. So let's get going. So we've called this the heart-liver connection, because the heart and the liver actually are very intimately connected, maybe in ways that you didn't really think about. So, my name is Nils Hoem, and I'm Chief Scientist of Aker BioMarine, and I'm of course speaking on behalf of Aker BioMarine also in this talk. I want you to know that in the preparation of this, but also as a general guidance into this topic, then these publications are something that I have drawn some knowledge from, but also that I would recommend you to visit if you want to understand more of this topic. The CC means Creative Commons. That means that you are allowed to use that material freely if you want to, and then as long as you cite it. So I have to start with what is omega-3 fatty acid and triglycerides in triglyceride and phospholipid form. And it's important that you understand this to understand what kind of food you are actually taking and what kind of supplements you are taking. The word omega is used everywhere. It's omega-3, it's omega-6, it's omega-11, who knows. I want you to just remember that the word omega has only to do with chemical nomenclature. It really isn't, there is no magic in omega in itself. What we mean about omega-3s are these long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, and there are three of them, EPA, DHA, and DPA. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, and this is what others should talk about when they talk about omega-3 fatty acids. So let's just be very clear about that. Then we have to also visit the form. Lipids, the fats you eat doesn't come as free fatty acids. It doesn't come as just EPA and DHA and DPA. They come as fats. So we have the most common of all fats. It's what you all think of when I say the word fat, like butter or an oil, like olive oil. It's called a triglyceride, and it means that it is a glycerol with 3 fatty acids on it. And in marine oils, the mid-fatty acids is usually an omega-3 long-chain fatty acid. So it is totally non-polar. Everyone knows that, because if you pour oil on water, it stays on top of the water. It doesn't mix with water. It is what we call hydrophobic. It doesn't like water. Then, if we take the triglyceride once more, we remove one fatty acid. And this is one of nature's really neat tricks. You know, this is the foundation of life, actually. So you take out one fatty acid, and then you add on a phosphate and a choline, and then you get what is called a phospholipid. This is one of the important phospholipids, one of the two phospholipids that make up our cells. So what about this one? Is polar. So it's a schizophrenic molecule. Part of the molecule likes water, part of the other molecule doesn't like water at all. So it mixes with water. And the utility of these two is very different. The triglycerides, we know them as fat. This is how we get fat. Basically, this is storage of energy. While the other one is what we're made of. Every one of us is made of cells, and those cells are made of a very intricate layer of phospholipids into which we have proteins. So this is really the foundation of life. So these two very similar molecules are still very different in their utility in our bodies. So the source of these then is fish oil, for example, when we talk about marine form, and in the phospholipid form, then it is krill oil that I've been working on, and also whole fish. So krill oil, in a way, is more similar to whole fish than fish oil, which is kind of strange. Anyway, but now we're going to do a little jump when now we have the background. So what is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Well, it starts out with fat depositions in the liver, and you have to understand then that the liver is really quite different from many other organs, actually any other organ in our body, because the cells in the liver, or most of the cells, the hepatocytes, they store lipid inside themselves. So they actually grow lipid blubbers, if you want, inside the cell. That doesn't happen in any other tissue. The fat that we have around in our bodies are stored in adipocytes in fat tissues. So how do you get it? Well, you get fat depositions in your liver if you have a high caloric diet, no wonder, but also if you have a high fructose diet. And that leads to this condition that is called non-alcoholic fatty liver. So it kind of, you could actually, in animals, you could actually see a change from brown towards yellow and white. Now, this is quite interesting. The gut is involved here. So it's not just what you eat, but it's also what your bioma, so your biotome in the gut is like. So there is a gut-liver connection. And then there are stuff that happens in the gut that influences the liver and even worsens the situation. And then there are things that we could do to reverse the fatty liver back to a normal liver. And I'm going to come back to that. So one has to understand the progression of fatty liver disease. You start out, the first step is exactly non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, where the liver is basically fat, and then it goes down to steatohepatitis, which is an inflammation of the liver. And now it really starts to take tolls when it comes to your health. And then it can go further on with fibrosis, and it can have also NASH with cirrhosis, which is the next step. And then you can add cancer into it also. So the first two steps can be reversed. The rest cannot be reversed. So it's very important to take care of your liver early on. It's nothing that you can do when you have gotten sick, really. So the pathogenesis of this, we have the liver and we have the gut. And then there are three different cells in the liver, something called a hepatocyte, there are the Kupffer cells, and then there are stellate cells. And all these three play a role. And now I'm going to show you something that is very complex. And I do not expect you to remember any of this, but this is the pathogenesis. This is the mechanism within the liver and also the gut that creates this fatty liver disease and also makes it progress into the real diseased states. Now, the reason for why I'm showing you this is that these areas, the green ones here, are the ones that you can actually reverse by diet or by dietary nutritionary changes in your lifestyle. Among them, nutraceuticals. So what about long-chain omega-3 intake and liver conditions? Well, this is a very new study that came out from Britain. It is on the British blood bank cohort. It's on 500,000 persons that were selected and 373,000 persons with low levels of, or normal to low levels of omega-3s, and about 40,000 that had high levels of omega-3s. And then they looked at the incidence of liver disease in that population. And if you look at this, I'm not going to read every one of these, but it shows that there is a very profound connection between your omega-3 intake and liver disease of different kinds, actually. So a high level of omega-3s is predicative of not having non-alcoholic fatty liver. So also phospholipids plays a role, and this is a paper that is about something that has been called essential phospholipids. They are phospholipids with one or two of the long-chain unsaturated fats in them. And it has been shown, and there are actually a growing body of research now that shows that the intake of such phospholipids actually can reduce the incidence of non-alcoholic fatty liver and actually also reverse it into a normal liver. So how is non-alcoholic fatty liver then connected to cardiovascular disease? Well, there is a large growing body of research that shows that there is a direct link. The incidence of cardiovascular disease is twice as high in those that have non-alcoholic fatty liver. And I'm going to show you why. So you remember this one? You can revert it by long-chain omega-3 fatty acids as well as phosphatidylcholine. So in the end, when you look at cardiovascular disease, then if you look, this is actually a heart turned upside down, made into a tree. And as you can see, the tree is healthy and green. It may turn yellow, non-healthy tree. Now, the thing is that if you want to understand what's going on, and this is the analogy with the connection between the cardiovascular system and our liver, then you have to have a look at what's at the tree's roots. And in many ways, then the liver serve here as the root of the cardiovascular system. And by the liver creating liver lipid disturbances, liver inflammation, lipidemias are cholesterol in what most people say, and cardiovascular disease. So there is a very clear connection, and in fact, we are on the verge of a new understanding of a major part of cardiovascular disease as something that actually starts out in the liver. So we better start treating them by the liver rather than directly on the cardiovascular system, because then it's too late. So there is an interaction between these two, very, very potent one actually. And the good news is that you can reverse it by dietary interventions, among them taking nutraceuticals. So long-chain omega-3 fatty acids and phospholipids are two prominent ones of those. And then, as you can see, the heart tree has become green again, and hopefully it will kick along for a long time after that. And then, thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is the time where we're going to open up for questions. So that was a lot of information, and they're happy to answer. If anybody has a question, please raise your hand. I'll come over with the mic.
In the research that you both did, were there any analysis that was done on plant sterols or phytosterols to help manage heart health?
I really didn't hear that.
I was asking if in the research you conducted, did you do any work to see how plant sterols could effectively
No,
manage?
no, no, no.
Anybody, anybody else have any questions?
Hello. I used to do research on lipoprotein metabolism, and
Yep.
I really like your ideas of the connection of heart disease with liver, because liver is where all the lipoproteins are made.
Yes.
So I think if there is a unhealthy liver, that is the root cause of lipid abnormality, which can lead to the heart issues. So you have shown that omega-3 seems to improve the health of the liver. Okay, how do you have any evidence or understanding that any of the liver supplements that we're using now have anything positive impact that people can expect?
With the omega-3s, I think the mechanism of action is relatively well understood. With the phospholipids, it's not as clear. And there is even a combinatory effect of phospholipids and the omega-3s. I know that especially in China and in Southeast Asia, phosphatidylcholine from soy, for example, is very much sold together with fish oils as a traditional. And it was actually one of realizing that really made me quite interested in those, what I did. I don't think there is much research behind that particular use. But what I am saying is that, for example, within the pharma industry, where I come from, then there is a huge focus now on the liver as really the the cause of maybe more than half of what we call cardiovascular disease. It's even shown that there are direct links between the liver and also definitely the lipoprotein production and regulation, and even myocardial issues. So what I'm trying to say is we need to understand a little bit like with blood pressure in the 1980s, when we realized that blood pressure doesn't have to do with the cardiovascular system. It actually has to do with water and electrolyte balance that is governed by the kidney. And so that's what I'm trying to say.
I think that we might have time for one more question, if anybody has any questions.
Thank you very much. So the krill solution rather than the omega-3 is because of the phospholipid content of the
Yep.
krill?
Yep.
And would a krill take care of that adequately?
Good question. If krill was your only nutrient, I don't know. I doubt it. But you are taking in quite a lot of other phospholipids at the same time. Now, remember, krill is a fairly good source of phospholipids because half of the lipids in krill oil is actually phosphatidylcholine. So it's not an insignificant cause. But of course, you have eggs, you eat meat, you eat other products that do contain phospholipids. So it would top up on that. But the special situation with krill is that it is not taking omega-3s together with phospholipid. The omega-3s actually sit on the molecule itself, and that actually has something to do with the issue, because the way it is digested, and some of it, the lysophosphatide part, probably goes directly to the liver from the gut through the hepatic circulation. So it is in the portal vein and then taken up directly to the liver. And then, long story, but there are specific transporters for phospholipids in the liver called MFSD2A, the same as in the brain and also in the placenta and in the blood-retina barrier. So there is more to it. I'm now almost cartoonizing the whole situation, making it as simple as I can.
Thank you, Niels, and thank you, Will. If you all could give them another round of applause. And you all enjoy the rest of your Supply Side West. Thank you.
Thank you.